Right, okay, so here we are at the point of starting the print side of it. Right, now I'm not 100% confident. I've already I've knocked this up in Photoshop. This is just me trying to work out colours. And although I've done this in Photoshop, when I come to look at the stencil, it's not going to be 100%. It won't follow this map 100%. So I'm just going to have to busk it a bit, I think, and just go for it and see what happens. I am a little bit worried about these little bits. Let me zoom in. The little bits for the eyes on the stencil. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the darker blue. So that will kind of provide the kind of definition and outline for the eyes. And I've also taken out the bits for the nostrils and the top lip, and a little bit of the design either side of the face. And then, as I understand it, that dries. I have to dry that. But as I was saying, I'm a bit worried about these. I think these might be a bit vulnerable when I roll, you know, when I kind of take the roller over them. So what I thought I'd do, starting off, let me just get that. Put that out again. I'm just going to lay a sheet of, this is sort of like waxy paper, it doesn't cling to anything, but I thought if I take the roller over those vulnerable bits, just to make sure that they are completely kind of stuck down to the plate. Hopefully when I do the first roll, that'll work. Anyway, here goes nothing. I think I've just got to do it now, because I'm starting to do that thing where I'm starting to dither. And, you know, that's going to make me sort of go wrong, I think, if I don't just go for it. So what I'm using is, I've got these Sennelier abstract acrylics, which they're not sort of heavy body, but they're not, you know, they're not like pouring acrylics either. They're somewhere in between, but I think they're the best things I've got for the job. I'm just gonna get a little bit out on these bigger areas. I can always add more. Let's just try that. So I'm just going to roller it. Oh, I'm not. Apparently I'm not going to roller it. It doesn't really want to. It is doing it, but it's not. It's not brilliant. Let me. Probably needs to be a bit more fluid than that. Trouble is I don't really want to mix up things with it, because then, you know, I'm a bit nervous about taking it in the other direction and making it too, you know, you've got to get the sort of viscosity right, really. That's a little bit better. That's okay actually. That's better, that's better. And then I can, see, that's what I didn't want to happen. These little bits coming off. Although in theory, if I can just get that one back down. On there. Because that's not so bad. You know, I wanted that to, that would be the next thing to print anyway. Would be that eye. Because what I thought was, if I can do all the small things first, and then you get to the bigger areas later on. Let's go over that lip area. As I say, I'm just doing this on a bit of a wing and a prayer, you know, because I'm not convinced that I've got the right paint for the job. But then, you know, I think you've just got to go with what you've got, really, and work with what you've got. Because otherwise you wouldn't get on with anything, and that would be a shame. I'm reluctant to put more down at this stage because so I'm going to roll it off. The excess from the roller, that sort of helps to clean it as well. Turn it up that way. Now, this is a bit of a technique. I've got it on this Perspex sheet in order that I can turn it over and have a look at it. Right, well, that's interesting. That's interesting. Okay, so at this point, I think I dry it off. I think I do, yeah. So I'm gonna dry it off. Here we go. Okay, let's put that to one side. Right, I think that's kind of dry. So the next part to print, I wanted to do this eye, didn't I? I need something to protect that side, don't I? I might just have to be really careful or clever with the roller. But I'm going to attempt to take this out. Now, something in my memory from watching Josh's thing says that you're supposed to take off the stencil when the paint is wet. Just remembered that. Oh well. I'm just going to go for it and just feel my way around this, I think. That's all I can do at the minute. I thought I'd taken that out. Oh, right. And that's blue, and I want this to be blue and that to be green. Don't ask me why. And I'm going to have this bit blue as well. That's coming off okay actually. That's all right. And that to be blue, lighter blue. Have we got any more lighter blues? And this to be lighter blue down here. I'm going to have to cut that. Now, I've realised as well with this gel plate is you can actually cut into it because it's self-healing. It's like your cutting board. As soon as you put a blade into it, it's kind of just heals itself, which is kind of handy. I'm going to do that one as well. See, when I was doing this in Photoshop, I was totally forgetting that I might not have all of these fantastic colours. So I'm going to have to just go with what colours I've got. So I want to preserve those eye areas. That's a bit annoying because I wanted that to stay white, but I might be able to do something with that. I'll have to just... This is it with a lot of things creative, you know, it's all a little bit trial and error, you know, it's, oh, one gone. I've just found me missing eye bit. I wonder if I can stick that back in place. Oh. Getting it in the right place is right. Okay. All right. So have I got everything that I wanted? I'm going to do like a cerulean blue. I am going to be a bit slow with this as well, so sorry if it's a bit frustrating to watch. It's just that it's not easy for me to talk about the process and do it. I have to sort of do one or the other, I can't, you know. Anyway, I'm going to just try and squeeze. In fact, what I'll do is I'll squeeze a bit out down here in the biggest area. I also haven't used these paints for a while, so that's probably why they're a bit on the stiff side. They feel really squishy in the pack, but when you get them out, it's not quite like that. Let's see if I can get that to behave. Come on. Takes a while to get going. So give it another go. You see, that's what it is. That's what it is. That bit closer to the top. This bit is like see, that's annoying because that's quite a lot of paint. Hopefully I can put that over there and use it later. Yeah, so yeah, that's not a lot more workable. Get that on my roller and go over that eye and that bit of the eye and that bit of the eye. Now, do I want that green or should I just go for the blue? Should should I just stick to the original plan? What are these? A little bit of green there. And it's only a touch that I want really on this bit. So maybe I should just put it down with my finger like that, rather than attempt to roll it. Right, so this bit, that's quite clean. I think it's quite nice anyway if a little bit of colour builds up on the roller, because you get that sort of real painterly effect with it. So I am going to try it again. Okay, I'm going to turn it over and have a look. A little bit nervous about turning it over because although it seems stuck, I'd hate for it just to drop off. Unfortunately, the other side of my gel plate has got some sort of, I don't know what it is, but it's clouding the image. It's not clear, but I can see that. I hope you can. You can see that. Yeah, yeah. So far, so good. Right, what's the next bit? I want to do, what colours have I got here? Got this lovely sort of turquoisey blue, which might be quite nice. But I want to stick with doing these smaller ones, don't I? So I had some crimson areas. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll do the crimson areas. It's a bit tricky actually seeing it without putting my head in the way of the camera. But I'm just going to have to do that. I'm going to lift crimson bit out if I can. I might have to cut. Let's see if I can get some of that dry paint out first. Well, this one's not as bad. Right, okay. I'm going to put a little touch of it there. I mean, it could well be that this doesn't work how I wanted it to, or how I imagined it to. But it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, I've got to get myself some decent acrylic that's going to work with this process well enough, because these aren't doing the job, I don't think. It's just, not unless I use far more than I feel I should at this stage. Let's see, I just need to get some on the roller. It's going to be stronger in some areas than it is in other areas, which helps if you take the lid off, Chris. in any case, as this builds up, it might actually be quite fortuitous that these layers are quite thin, because with each colour pass, you know, you get echoes of it in the background. Or so I imagine anyway. Oh, I forgot that bit. Let's get that down. So yeah, as you can see, I am kind of struggling a little bit with these paints. What I'm just going to do my best with it, really. That looks a little bit better, even though let's put a bit more in there. So I wanted that to be, I think that's going to be better. That's going to be better. Let's give that another go. Right, let's have a look. Yeah, that's starting to look a lot stronger. That is quite interesting, because I was right about that, like in that area, because that layer is quite thin, it's creating a lovely sort of purpled area at the top there, which is actually rather nice from a painterly point of view. Right, so I want to next do I'm going to do the orange bits next. I think that's all the orange bits. So I'm saying orange, but I've actually got, it's like it's called primary red, which is like a reddish orange. I'm going to go for, I think. Yeah. Right. Again, I'll see if I can get the dry bit out first. Takes a bit of doing. Should have done all this before I started. But typical me. I don't. Right, where's that palette? See if I don't have to lose all of that. I'll put a bit down on here like that. Actually, oh, it goes on nice with the palette knife. Goes on lovely. Do you know what? I think I might do with the palette knife. Oh, look. Yeah. Yeah, I'm liking that. I'm liking that. So, before it kind of, let's just give it a go. Ah, there we go. It's lifted off quite nicely. And then we've got this bit at the side. Let's see if I can grab hold of that. I don't want all of that to be see if I can roller that on. picking up a bit of that red. That's all right then. I think what I'm going to do is put a bit more down. And smooth the palette knife on. I quite like the fact that you get bits of the other colour with it. Quite like that. Gold knows how it's going to come out, but I'm having fun, and that's the main thing. Right, let's get rid of that on there. Turn that up. Let's have a look. Yeah. Do you know what? I'm liking that. I am. Right, let me just dry that off now. Right, okay. So, next bit, I'm going to do, right, let's have a look. Yeah, I'm liking that. I am. Right. I'm going to do the paler blue sort of lilac-y blue though. But I have a dilemma because I don't have that lilac as a colour. But I do have white, and I do have crimson, and I do have cerulean blue, and even this turquoise blue. I've got these really cheapo acrylic paints, and there's a violet in that. I could give that a go. Let's try it. Let's give it a go. It's not the end of the world, is it? Right, if I can lift that up, get that out. And where else? This under eye bit. Oh yeah, that all came home. I don't want all that off there. I thought I'd... Take these bits out of the side of the neck as well. Can get that to lift up. You know, doing this again, I think it would be wise to lift these out when they're wet. But, you know, let's just see how it goes. That whole bit there. Right, okay. see what these are like. They might be really good for all I know. As soon as I put something down, it vanishes into thin air, which is quite clever. Right. I'm wondering if I can see what the consistency. Do you know what? That might be all right. Or is it too watery? Could have done me being a few shades lighter, but never mind. Yeah, I suppose with gel plate printing you kind of get the best of both worlds with, you know, it's like a halfway house between printing and painting. So you're getting all these lovely painterly effects. I'm going to put a bit of that there and a bit of that there and a bit of that there, and I'm going to put a bit of white with it just to lighten. Just to lighten it up. Why not? Yeah. Yeah, that's quite good. Put that in there as well. Just gives it a very, you know, subtle lighter shade. No, I'll keep that as it is. Right. So look. That is interesting. Sorry, I keep holding it up to the light, but then yeah, I like that. Should. Sorry if my head's in the way. I think I'm just going to have to go with whatever happens here. There we go, that's not too bad. It's a nice shape as well. This Magic Fly acrylic pouring paint, rose pink. God knows what it's like. I'm going to see what it's like. Let's pour a little bit out. It's actually really runny, so I'm not sure it's going to do the job really. Oh no, it's so thin, that. Unbelievably thin. I might just try a thin layer, because then I can always dry it off and then put something thicker in the background, and that might work. Then again, it might not. I'm just going to put a little bit down. Who knows? As I say, this is all just pure experimentation for me, because it's the first time I've done jelly printing. I've done, you know, just kind of making patterns and backgrounds and things like that, but this is the first time I've tackled anything that's anywhere near something recognisable, like a face. Yeah, you see, that is so weedy. That's not doing anything, is it? That ain't doing nothing. Okay. Not to worry. What I'm going to do in that case is I'm going to put some of this processed magenta down with some white. Let's see if I can get like a pink. I am sort of enjoying myself, I have to say. It's hugely enjoyable doing this sort of thing. Because, you know, you kind of want it, you really don't know what the outcome's going to be. That's too strong a pink. I wanted a lighter pink than that, but again, you know, it might just work. Right, let's have a look. Coming on. Right, okay. So now I want to put in like a bit of a fleshy tone. A bit of a darker one actually. Might be better. really difficult to get hold of the edge of this now. Right, okay, and then this bit, yeah, that's one of the last bits to come out, and the central nose area, and there's bits at the side, but we're nearly there actually. There's this bit on the bottom I'm going to have to look at, and that bit on the bottom lip. So light blue, I'm going to do, again, it's got a bit of a plug there. There's my palette knife. I'm getting in my own way again. Let's get off there. I'm just going for it now, I think. That's all I can do. Let's just go for it. It doesn't look exactly how I wanted it to. I can always, you know, pick the bones out of it later and decide what I should have done. Let's have a look. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. What I'll do is I'll take this part off now, if I can get to it. So these bits I'm going to do like an ochre style thing. Yeah. I am. Let's have a look at that. Yeah. Messy. Messy but beautiful. Well, that's what I'm saying anyway. I'll put a bit more blue on that bit. Blimey, that was a lot. That's alright, I'm going to just spread it over there so I don't upset that ochre too much. have a look. Yeah, I think that looks quite nice actually. Once that's stuck on there. It's certainly interesting. I'm going to take that out of there. And do you know what? I'm going to make that blue as well. Just because I feel like it. So the only bits to come off now is that bridge of the nose part, a bit down the neck, and then the outer part of it, and just under that lip as well. It's quite easy to kind of start really losing where you are with this. It's not that, you know, because once you start layering the paint up, it's you start losing where the edges of your original template are. Right, take that out. I think I might just lift out what's remaining and then just colour it, you know, just blob down some appropriate colours and then dry it off. And then I think I'll be at the stage of being ready to actually print. So it's this bit. Now this bit is quite crucial to it because it's like the central part, but it's like the sort of flash of light that's hitting the top of her face, forming this kind of almost star-like shape. So I do want that to come out quite sharp, if I can get it to. Especially at the top there. Right. And then there's the bits, the eye. I apologise for my head being in the way. It's just that I have to try and get close enough to it to be able to see where I'm getting hold of the bit of mylar that's hanging on there. Oh yeah, that's quite a big bit. That's gone a bit wrong, not surprisingly, but it might look okay. I think this is the beauty of this sort of work, is that you don't have to be too precious about it, I don't think. Right, for that central bit, I want it to be almost white but not quite white, so I'm going to put some white down. I'm also going to put a little bit of blue with it. Mix a little bit of the blue. That's Atlas blue. What's Atlas blue? Only a little smidge because I don't want it to be overpowering. Quite thin, that paint. And then under the lip, I wanted that to be quite dark, so I'm going to use this deep brown. It's already been opened, not by me. I might go deep brown in over here as well. Just for balance. Right, let's have a look. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to strengthen that white up. Let's see if I can use a bit, some of this. It's not easy getting the lids off these sometimes. What did I do with the lid? Oh, there it is. Right, so I'm going to dry this off, and then I think the last thing to do is to take up the remaining bit, and then do the last roll over the whole thing, and then put the paper on and dry it, and then it's ready to pull. Let's just dry this bit first. Right. Do you know what, that's going to bring the whole lot off if I do that, so I'm going to have to be careful and do more cutting into it. So I'm going to lift that off. Just about. Just about. I think what I'm going to do with this is do it bit by bit rather than try and pull the whole lot off, because I'm in danger of ruining it. Just by being impatient. Okay. Right. So that last bit, these edges, decisions really. Do I put another layer down? In fact, I think I am going to do that, because there's some of this cerulean blue paint up the top here that I haven't used yet, and that might actually look really good against that orange. Which wasn't on my little map that I did, colour map thing, but that's all right. Sometimes it's better if you just kind of feel your way along with something rather than, you know, stick to the script, so to speak. Sometimes it's better. Kind of given up on the roller, haven't I? Right. So I'm going to dry that off, and then the last bit you kind of reactivate the whole of it, if you like, with like a binding layer, as I understand it, if I've got it right. Yeah, it acts like a binding layer that kind of adheres to the sheet of paper, and then the whole thing has to dry, and then with a bit of luck when I come to pull the print, the whole lot comes up. All of the layers of paint I've put on so far will come up in the final pull. That's if I've done it right. Let's have a look. It looks pretty good, actually. I am quite pleased with that as a first go. I mean, it is really good fun to do, that has to be said. So, you know, even if it doesn't quite work the way I wanted it to, it's a, you know, it's a really good learning exercise, and I'll certainly be doing it again. I don't think I'll be reusing this this template though. Not for this purpose anyway. I'll be doing something else with it because I think some of these shapes are really nice. Anyway, I digress. Let me get on with this. I'm going to dry it off. Right, so I think that's dry. That is nice and dry. Actually, it's not 100% dry in all areas. I wonder if I can get away with putting the final layer on and then putting my sheet of paper down. I'm guessing that you need quite thick paper, or paper that's, you know, kind of going to be man enough to kind of lift all the layers of paint off. I can actually see this cracking in areas because I've probably layered it up too thick in areas, and I'm trying to dry it off with the hairdryer, and it obviously doesn't like it. But I thought what I'd do for a final layer is I'd use this neutral grey. It's like a sort of warmish grey, because we've got, you know, it's such a sort of riot of colour on here that I thought, well, you know, if there are any sort of gaps in it, it might actually be quite nice to have something neutral poking through. I can roller that on. So I'm just going to go for it. I'm going for it. I'm going to put a big old load of it on like that. I'm just going to roll it on a whole lot. I'm going to do it quite thick as well, because I want it to grab all of that, all of those layers of paint underneath. So that when I pull up the paper, all of it comes up. Hopefully, anyway, if it works. If it doesn't work, then there'll be lots of swearing. Not on camera. But, right, so I'm going to just press this on here. This is the thickest paper I've got. It's a watercolour paper, which is 300 GSM. Because I don't want to use something that's too thin, that won't allow me to really pull against the gel on the plate, if that makes sense. So rather than attempt to dry that with a dryer, I think what I'm going to do is leave it a little while and go and make myself a cup of tea, because I'm gasping for a cup of tea. And then I'm going to layer and roller it on. Doubly sure that it's making contact in all areas. And hopefully, when I come back, that will be dry. In fact, I think I might leave this overnight. Will I leave it overnight or just a few hours? I don't know. Am I patient enough to leave it overnight? Right, anyway, I'm leaving it for now. So, see you later. Okay, so this has been drying for a couple of hours, so I'm assuming that it's ready to lift off. So we're going to have a go. That's how it's turned out. Hey, I really like that actually. I'm pleased with that. Let's have a zoom in. Yeah. I really like that actually. How amazing. I don't know what I was expecting really, but yeah, that's really worked. I like all these little painterly parts to it, and the fact that the edges are a little bit raggy in areas, if that's even a word. You know, it's not, you know, it's not perfect in terms of edges, and but I really like that. I really like that effect. Wow. Okay. I'm still not sure what's happened there. If that's still part of the, like some mylar still left on it, but in any case, I think that works as an image. Yeah. Brilliant. I'm so pleased with that. Right. Okay. So that's my first go at a gel print monotype. Brilliant.